Part 48. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 471. Feng Qingxiu was very skilled at cooking and was willing to add oil, salt, and seasonings. They were so fragrant that Wang Jiao ate 2 of them in one go. The leek box made of white flour is round, 6 inches in diameter. With corn crumbs porridge, Wang Quilin, Chen Suiniang, and Feng Qingxiu each felt like they were full after eating one. The children only ate most of half of it, and Lu Tianjun, who was still growing, ate half of it. It's delicious, Wang Jiao patted her belly with satisfaction. Feng Qingxiu and others went to dig wild vegetables, and she followed with Gaodan on her back and a bamboo basket to join in the fun. After dinner, Lu Tianjun went to work on the 2,000 acres of land. Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu also followed. Although they were not old, they could help put peanut seeds into the dug holes or plant sweet potato seedlings into the holes. Other children their age had gone to work, and they were worried that Feng Qingyun and Song Gang would stay at home. So, Feng Qingyun and Song Gang took Zibao and followed Feng Qingxiu Niang and others to the wild. The mountains and fields are very open, but the wind does not feel biting on the face. It is gentle and makes people sober-minded and broad-minded. It had just rained 2 days ago, and the weeds were growing wildly. The wild vegetables were sandwiched in between, and they were lush and green. There are a few children, both old and young, digging wild vegetables all over the mountains and plains, and there are almost no adults in sight. Mother-in-law and toad grass are both anti-inflammatory and relatively common. Feng Qingxiu taught Chen Suiniang how to identify wild vegetables, and only taught her to identify these 2 types. It's good to dig some back to make wufu and make soup. Just eat them, it tastes a bit bitter. It's already April in the Gregorian calendar, and the shepherd's purse has already bloomed, and it's too old to taste. However, some people still dug old wild shepherd's purses because of lack of food. Even though the living standard of Wanglu Brigade is higher than that of surrounding areas, the hungry and frightened people still work hard to save food and dig wild vegetables. They don't want to be unable to dig wild vegetables and grass roots when there is no harvest in a large area in the future. Chen Suiniang's heart moved and she increased the speed of digging wild vegetables, only digging the granny ding and toad grass she knew. Seeing how beautiful she was, Wang Jiao couldn't help but get close to her. Don't you city people all eat commercial grains and vegetables bought from grocery stores? What's so rare about wild vegetables? They're very bitter. Chen Suiniang said with a smile, the grain and vegetables we eat are all grown by you. The state purchases and sells them under the unified control. In winter, it is radish and cabbage, in spring, it is spinach and green vegetables, and in summer, it is lukfa, eggplant, and beans. However, wild vegetables are not very common, only in the black market. It can be seen here that the country people sell the food to the city people for a taste, but after all, it is very small, and food is more important. Wang Jiao said, there are 2 tune trees in the private plot behind my house. Pinch some tune buds when you leave. My mother-in-law didn't have time to do it when she went to work in the morning. She went back to mix the tofu. It's delicious. But the tofu is not cheap. It costs £1. Chen Suiniang was stunned for a moment, then thanked her. Tune sprouts have a strong taste, but Wang Quilin and Chen Suiniang like to eat them. They dug a basket of wild vegetables and went to her house with Wang Jiao to pinch a lot of tune sprouts. Wang Jiao also helped them tie them up with straw, in small bundles. On top of the wild vegetables in the basket. Although each person only picked 2 bundles, they were all grateful for Wang Jiao's generosity. Qingxiu, your cousin is quite nice, Wang Quilin said on the way back in the afternoon, and Chen Suiniang echoed. Feng Qingxiu was very funny and did not tell them that it was actually Wang Jiao who didn't like tune buds and couldn't stand the taste of tune buds. Her mother-in-law probably mixed the tune buds every day and made her dizzy, so she was generous to them. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 472. This time I brought back a lot of things, including half a bag of dried sweet potatoes, several kilograms of fine grains, and various wild vegetables, green vegetables, and spring sprouts. She sent Lu Tianjun to school first, and waited for Feng Qingxiu and others to return to the courtyard. The afterglow had faded and the night was beginning to fall. Chen Swiniang broke up with them at the back door and walked into her own house without paying any attention to Wang Erniu. Of curses. Cheng's mother left rice for their mothers and specially cooked egg noodles for Zibao. While feeding Zibao, she said, "I smell the smell of tune sprouts. I haven't eaten them for a long time. Let's buy a piece of tofu tomorrow, eat it with tofu at night. Oh, I also smell the acacia sprouts. I relied on this stuff to save my life for the first 2 years. It just made everyone swollen. The edema is not caused by eating acacia buds." Feng Qingxiu swallowed the food in her mouth. The edema is caused by extreme lack of nutrition due to hunger, lack of protein and vitamins, so I got edema. Mother Cheng sighed, "This year is finally better than in previous years." Feng Qingxiu feels the same way. Although hunger is still the biggest difficulty at present, it is really much better than those 3 years. After dinner, she and Wang Quilin cleaned up the dishes together, locked the food they brought back into the cupboard, and put the fresh vegetables in the kitchen. While they were busy working, they heard a knock on the door from outside. "Who is this?" Wang Quilin went over and opened the door, but it was Zhang Yi's parents. Standing Committee Secretary Zhang's name is Zhang Taizu, and his wife's name is Hong Daimei. Both of them are straightforward people. When the latter saw Wang Quilin, she took her hand and said, "Quilin, you need my Xiaoai to testify. You can't let him be raped by people with ulterior motives. What a disaster. Why are we, Xiao Yi, so unlucky? It's normal for young men and women to meet each other and get into trouble." Hong Daimei was crying, but her voice was so loud that Feng Qingxiu could hear her clearly in the kitchen. Zhao Mingfang must have come back to cause trouble. The most likely reason is that she went around saying that Zhang Yi was acting like a gangster to her. Wang Quilin knew what was going on and hurriedly invited them to the room to talk. When Hong Daimei saw Cheng Baoqiu and Cheng's father and Cheng's mother, she couldn't help but pour out her full grievances. "Uncle Cheng, Aunt Cheng, Secretary Cheng, and Mayor Cheng, do you think our Xiao Yi was wronged or not?" Hong Daimei wiped her tears. Zhao Mingfang told her parents when she got back that Xiao Yi was acting like a hooligan to her and even gave her her clothes. It was torn apart and the buttons were all off. "Zhao Yide and Wang Fengmei came to settle accounts with us. How could it be possible for Xiao Yi to marry Zhao Mingfang?" The work unit reported Xiao Yi, saying that Xiao Yi had a problem with his lifestyle and acted like a hooligan to lesbians. Xiao Yi was probably the one who saw them arguing at the time. Fortunately, he said that Quilin and Chen Swiniang were still involved. "There is a lesbian who seems to be Zhao Mingfang's cousin and can vouch for him, so I'm coming to find you." Wang Quilin immediately said, "De Mei, don't cry. I've seen everything about this matter. Don't worry, I will go to testify for Zhang Yi early tomorrow morning. I will also call Swiniang and my family Qingxiu to ensure that Zhang Yi is safe and sound, come out clean." Hong Daimei immediately thanked her profusely. "I'll trouble you then, Quilin." "Thank you, Comrade Quilin and this female comrade. We will go back first. We have to find Secretary Huang and ask him to testify for Xiao Yi, proving that nothing happened after they met." Zhang Taizu was also very angry now. Zhao Mingfang was introduced by Secretary Huang, but the two failed. Secretary Huang later introduced Zhou Yulan to Zhang Yi. "If you have a ticket, a monthly ticket, or a recommendation ticket, there will be updates. As for giving rewards, you are free to do so. I prefer everyone to subscribe to my articles." I smiled with my teeth. I am eating a leek box today. I will also let you see the leek box. My mother makes leeks. The box is super delicious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 473. The next day, just after breakfast, Zhang Yi's unit came to investigate before Wang Quilin and Feng Qingxiu went out. Zhang Yi studied mechanical design and manufacturing, so he worked in the municipal machinery factory. He just graduated last year. After graduation, he was assigned to a factory. Now he gets a salary of 27 yuan a month. What level does he belong to? Feng Qingxiu has no working experience and does not understand the situation. The machinery factory took this matter very seriously, and the people who came were Deputy Director Wu Mingxian and Director of the Women's Federation Ruan Zhenghong. There is another one named Zhou Changfeng. I don't know what his position is in the machinery factory. Wu Mingxian and Zhou Changfeng asked Wang Quilin, while Ruan Zhenghong pulled Feng Qingxiu outside. I'm sorry, comrade, this matter has made a big fuss and has a great impact. We have to investigate it carefully. In order to show the authenticity and fairness of the investigation, so you witnesses must be questioned separately. If they are separated, they won't have to worry about agreeing with each other, and they can judge Zhang Yi's innocence based on the three people's respective testimonies. The testimonies of the three people are highly similar, which means that Zhang Yi is innocent and was framed by Zhao Mingfang. It's okay, Comrade Ruan, if you have anything to ask, just ask. Feng Qingxiu understood their approach and did not feel uncomfortable. Besides, the other party did not behave inappropriately. Ruan Zhenghong took out his notebook and said, Comrade, what is your name, where are you from, and what are you doing in the city? You are not from the city. I know. I have never seen you. I can basically recognize all the cadres and workers in government agencies and units. What is their relationship with Zhao Mingfang, Zhang Yi, and Zhou Yulan? Do you recognize them? Why were you passing by? Feng Qingxiu replied seriously, My name is Feng Qingxiu. I live in the Wanglu Brigade of Shuguan Commune. I am a poor farmer and a family member of a soldier. I am participating in the doctor training specially organized by the Staff Hospital for Rural Areas. I am Zhao Mingfang's cousin. She, my mother, Wang Fengmei, and my mother, Wang Fengying, are biological sisters, but we have not had any contact with each other before. We have only met once. They have nothing to do with Comrade Zhang Yi. We only met once, and Comrade Zhou Yulan is a complete stranger. Before yesterday, I had never seen her at all. Don't know her either. Have you met Zhang Yi? Where? When? Ruan Zhenghong asked immediately, without giving her any chance to think. Feng Qingxiu thought for a while. I can't remember the specifics. It was more than a month ago, less than 2 months anyway, and I hadn't come to participate in the doctor training at that time. I was having dinner with my uncle's cousin Wang Jiao in a state-owned hotel, and we met by chance. Zhao Mingfang and Comrade Zhang Yi. Zhao Mingfang insisted that Comrade Zhang Yi take her to the department store to buy a plum blossom watch. Comrade Zhang Yi said that there was an unfinished report and then left the hotel. The waiter at the state-owned hotel can testify to this, because at that time, Zhao Mingfang spoke rudely and was scolded by my cousin. Ruan Zhenghong wrote it down seriously and asked about the details of the hooligan incident yesterday morning. Feng Qingxiu went to Wanglu Brigade to dig wild vegetables with her, Wang Quilin, Chen Suiniang, and her nephew Lu Tianjun. She took her son Lu Zibao with her. She met Zhang Yi and Zhou Yulan while shopping together and planned to buy something. She stopped and said a few words, and then Zhao Mingfang suddenly the incidents in which Zhang Yi was beaten and scolded were described one by one. Zhao Mingfang also scolded Comrade Zhou Yulan. Comrade Zhou Yulan was angry and ashamed and ran away crying. After adding the sentence, Feng Qingxiu told Ruan Zhenghong in detail how Zhao Mingfang framed Zhang Yi. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 474. Even though Feng Qingxiu answered in detail, Ruan Zhenghong still asked 3 times. The questions were almost the same every time, but in a different order, or when Feng Qingxiu was answering the question, he suddenly asked another question. Finally, after seeing that the answers were flawless, Ruan Zhenghong put away his notebook and pen with satisfaction. At the same time, Wang Quilin also sent Wu Mingxian and Zhou Changfeng out. "Sorry to trouble you, Comrade Wang Quilin," Wu Mingxian said. "Before we came, we sent someone to where you work to say hello. You don't have to go to work today and your wages will not be deducted." The implication is to go to the work unit to confirm their identities. Wang Quilin smiled and said, "This is what we should do. Only by investigating clearly can we restore the innocence of the person involved." Definitely, Wu Mingxian didn't want to offend Secretary Zhang, member of the Standing Committee. Among the people in the Municipal Party Committee, which one is a simple person? Even if a coder puts others before himself and endures hardships and is usually indifferent, he will not allow others to wrongly accuse his son. After Wu Mingxian, Ruan Zhenghong, Zhou Changfeng and others left, Wang Quilin immediately closed the door, pulled Feng Qingxiu into the room, and asked her how she answered. While asking, she told the questions Wu Mingxian asked her and her own answers. When Feng Qingxiu heard it, she found that the questions were similar and the answers were all true. "Don't worry, Auntie. They asked Sister Chen or went to school to ask Tianwan to prove that none of us lied. We will definitely clear Zhang Yi's name," Feng Qingxiu comforted. Wang Quilin sighed, "No matter whether Zhang Yi is innocent or not, he will never be able to take off this hat." "What's the meaning?" Looking at the confusion on Feng Qingxiu's face, Wang Quilin explained softly, "Although lifestyle is very important, people like to talk about these romantic rumors. Zhang Yi and Zhao Mingfang are the children of coders, even if it is not true. In the end, the investigation made it clear, but the previous view has been deeply rooted in people's hearts and it is difficult to change. Perhaps, some people will say that it must be the Zhang family who relied on their own power to get Zhang Yi out. Zhao Mingfang is a girl and a man. A young and beautiful girl. How can a girl joke about her innocence? The most important thing is that they have met before. Although this Zhao Mingfang has no brains, he really defeated Zhou Yulan with this move. It's a pity that Zhou Yulan. Yes, this is a good girl." Feng Qingxiu didn't understand why Wang Quilin felt sorry for Zhou Yulan at first, but later she finally understood the reason. Zhao Mingfang was indeed ruthless and vicious. When she was investigating and collecting evidence about Zhang Yi's hooliganism in the machinery factory, she spread the news that Zhou Yulan was shameless, knowing that Zhang Yi was her target, and even met Zhang Yi and went shopping, etc., which caused Zhou Yulan's shame. Yulan couldn't go to work. She didn't want to face the criticism of her colleagues, so she cried at home all day long. Zhou's father and Zhou's mother are ordinary workers with no power and weak temper. They only have one daughter, whom they have loved like a treasure since childhood. Now that their daughter is being wronged like this, they have no place to vent their anger for her. They are angry and hateful. He was angry at himself for being incompetent and hated Zhao Mingfang for being cruel. Not long after, Zhang Yi came out. Accompanied by his parents, he visited the house to apologize. Father Zhou and Mother Zhou directly turned them away. Through the door, Father Zhou said, "We never expect our daughter to be rich." Secretary Huang said, "Hello, so we agreed to meet you. Now, we don't want our daughter to live in such a shadow her whole life and face all kinds of frame ups in the future." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 475. In one sentence, it means that no matter whether Zhang Yi is innocent or not, they will not agree to Zhou Yulan marrying Zhang Yi. Although it was not Zhang Yi's fault that Zhao Mingfang's matter was not properly resolved, the innocent Zhou Yulan should not have been involved. It had only been a few days since the incident happened. Zhou Yulan lost a lot of weight. I wasn't fat in the first place, but now I'm like a piece of paper blown away by the wind. Listening to her father negotiating with the Zhang family outside the door, Zhou Yulan and her mother sat across from each other and wept, describing themselves extremely haggard. "My child, I'm sorry for you." Zhou's mother hugged her daughter, secretly hating that she had agreed to Secretary Wang's proposal to introduce Zhou Yulan to a partner, but she didn't expect that she would harm her daughter for the rest of her life. Zhou Yulan leaned against her mother and sobbed. No matter what they said, Zhang Taizu, Hong Daimei and Zhang Yi could not get Zhou's father's forgiveness, nor could they get a reply from Zhou Yulan. They could only go back temporarily and come back next time, but Zhang Yi couldn't help but look back, his haggard face full of pain. The trouble is still to come. As soon as the family of three returned to the compound, they were blocked by Wang Fengmei and Zhao Mingfang. Obviously, mother and daughter have been waiting for them for a long time. "Zhang Yi, you are so heartless. I even told the people who came to investigate from the machinery factory that it was not the case. You and I are in a normal relationship. You didn't say you were grateful that I spoke up for you and went to find that vixen Zhou Yulan." Zhao Mingfang looked accusatory. "You are my target, why are you looking for Zhou Yulan? Do you want to be accused of being a hooligan again?" Zhang Taizu, Hong Daimei and Zhang Yi had disgust on their faces and resentment in their eyes. Would this have happened if Zhao Mingfang hadn't been pestering him so hard that he ripped open his clothes in the alley and framed him? Even if he comes out, he still won't be able to get rid of his reputation as a hooligan, and now a good marriage has come to naught. Zhang Yi likes Zhou Yulan, and Zhang Taizu and Hong Daimei are also very satisfied with Zhou Yulan. Compared with Zhao Mingfang, who is arrogant, shameless, and vicious, the gentle and quiet Zhou Yulan is like a fairy who fell from the sky, perfect. Although the person who reported Zhang Yi was not Zhao Mingfang, after investigation, it was the person who witnessed everything with her own eyes in the alley and heard Zhao Mingfang shouting that Zhang Yi was a gangster, and was a colleague of Zhang Yi. Zhao Mingfang just asked her parents to come to Zhang's house to force the marriage. They didn't go out to complain, and their family obviously understood that destroying Zhang Yi would do no good to them, but the person the Zhang family hated the most was Zhao Mingfang, and she was the culprit. "Zhao Mingfang, in front of your parents and mine, I reiterate that even if I can't marry a wife in my life, I will never marry a despicable woman like you," Zhang Yi yelled at her and rushed indoor. Hong Daimei sighed, pulled her husband and left, ignoring Wang Fengmei and Zhao Mingfang. They probably thought it would be embarrassing to show up for such a thing, so Zhao Yi didn't show up. However, Zhang Taizu and Hong Daimei still hated Zhao Yi and secretly tried to stumble him. If it weren't for his incompetence in teaching his daughter, this kind of thing wouldn't have happened. Secretary Huang also felt very sorry for Zhang Yi, but he didn't know that Zhao Mingfang was such a person. He wanted to wait until the situation calmed down before saying good things to him and make the Zhou family change his mind, but he didn't know that Zhao Mingfang was still persistent in pestering Zhang Yi. No matter how coldly Zhang Yi scolded her and kicked her out, she always regarded herself as Zhang Yi's partner. Under such circumstances, let alone the Zhou family's change of heart, even other families would not dare to marry their daughter to Zhang Yi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 476. When Feng Qingxiu knew that there was no possibility between Zhang Yi and Zhou Yulan, many days had passed. The Zhou family is wise. Mother Cheng sighed, although Zhang Yi came out, although Zhang Taizu and Hong Daimei would not let Zhao Mingfang in, and Zhang Yi also stated that he would not marry Zhao Mingfang. Zhao Mingfang has no brains. People are like candy, they can't be shaken off. If Zhou Yulan continues with Zhang Yi, she will have to face all kinds of entanglements from Zhao Mingfang after marriage. The same goes for Zhao Mingfang, who has no reputation now. It's a shame. The Zhao family will definitely try their best to get Zhang Yi to marry her. Zhao Mingfang is pestering Zhang Yi now. Isn't that what her parents want? If Zhao Yide and Wang Fengmei had disagreed, then Zhao Mingfang would not have been so blatant, and no one saw Zhao Yide and Wang Fengmei say a word from the beginning to the end. It seemed that it was a private matter between the two children and had nothing to do with adults. Since ancient times, marriage has been a good thing between two surnames. Both of their families have become enemies. Even if Zhao Mingfang marries Zhang Yi as she wishes, the marriage will not be happy. I really don't know what their family thinks. Is it because of Zhao Mingfang? Their reputation was gone, so their family was determined to drag Zhang Yi into the water? Or is Zhao Mingfang really obsessed with Zhang Yi? Feng Qingxiu frowned slightly, disgusted with what Zhao Mingfang did. In her opinion, forcing would have no good results. I think Zhang Yi and Zhou Yulan have a good impression of each other. No wonder Aunt Quillan said that day it's a pity Zhou Yulan. Isn't it a pity? What a shame. Zhang Yi is a man, so everyone will treat this matter as a romantic affair and let it go after talking about it. After all, the investigation results of the machinery factory show that he is innocent. But Zhou Yulan is a woman, and there are too many rumors that women have to deal with. Her marriage to Zhang Yi failed, and Zhao Mingfang spread filthy words everywhere. It is difficult to talk about a good family. Zhou Yulan's parents both work, and she is also a female worker in a textile factory. Many people still come to propose marriage. They probably think that Zhou Yulan's reputation is ruined now, and any kind of family has the courage to ask someone to negotiate a marriage. Comrade Quillan, listen, who are they? Either a poor boy who has to take care of the food and drink of a large family for one salary, a poor bachelor who is lazy, or a widower whose wife has died and has a large group of children. Who does this think our Yulan is? Zhou's mother pulled Wang Quillan and cried, Yulan doesn't dare to go out now because she is afraid that the gangsters will whistle at her, and she is afraid that her colleagues will talk about her behind her back and say she is shameless. I only wanted to be a man and fell in love with Zhang Yi, but I was caught by the real owner. Wang Quillan patted her hand with a serious expression on her face. The Zhao family has gone too far. It's more than excessive. It's so ruthless that we, Yulan, won't leave a way to survive. Zhou's mother hated Zhang Yi again when she met Wang Quillan. Even though Zhang Yi groveled and apologized and laughed, Zhou's mother still hated him. I want to. If it weren't for him, how could Magnolia's pure and innocent daughter be in such a state? Oh, it's useless to talk more. We have to think about how to solve it. We can't continue. Mother Zhou burst into tears after listening to Wang Quillan's words. That's why I came to see Comrade Quillan and Comrade Qingxiu. I want to ask them to help Yulan find out if there are any suitable aspiring young people in the countryside. Let her stay away from this place of right and wrong. Please vote, monthly recommended tickets. We will update as many votes as we need, so please consciously support. 3. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 477. Zhou's father and Zhou's mother would not have made such a decision if they had no other choice. There is such a huge difference between urban and rural life. But living among everyone's rumors for a long time, Zhou's father and Zhou's mother were afraid that their daughter would go crazy and go to a dead end. She was an extremely gentle girl, and she didn't like to compete with others since she was a child. After Zhou's mother started, she had the courage to continue, we have no intention of hiding anything from the man. Before meeting, we have to tell him clearly what happened to Yulan. If he agrees, Yulan will marry her and move her household registration. Of course, the jobs will be gone, but our salary and everything else will belong to Magnolia from now on. Although Zhou Yulan can still work in the city without moving her household registration, Zhou's father and mother do not want her to continue to live under the strange eyes of her colleagues. Instead, they might as well leave and participate in rural construction to earn food rations. The old couple help with care. Before Wang Qilan could speak, Feng Qingxiu suddenly interjected, "Zhou Yulan is not wrong. She is the most innocent girl in this matter. Why did she leave her home? The culprit can stay in the city and live freely, so why should he be harmed? People must stay away from each other in order to achieve peace. By letting her marry in the country, aren't you just confirming the gossip of outsiders?" Zhou's mother couldn't help but cried bitterly, "I don't want to. Our daughter, who has been pampered since she was a child, has an education and a job. How can we be willing to let her go to the countryside and live a life with her face facing the loess and her back facing the sky? How many people died of starvation in the countryside in those 3 years? Dad is an accountant, so how can he not know the rules? But what can we do? We are both useless people. We have worked hard all our lives. We are afraid of having a worse impact on Yulan, so we don't dare to go to political commissar Zhao's family. We are worried that they will become angry and punish our family of 3. Wang Qilan gritted her teeth and cursed. In this world, there is really no way to explain it. Good people have to work hard, while villains show off their power everywhere. Let's do this, Miss Yulan. Wang Qilan thought for a while and finally said, "You tell Yulan to relax and have a good rest at home and leave work for the time being. I will keep an eye on you secretly and find a good young man for you, Yulan. Let's call him Yulan lives a prosperous life and lets those people watch her. Even if she is framed by evil people, God has good eyes and will not let good people suffer in the end." "Yes," Feng Qingxiu agreed. "The best revenge is to live a better life than your enemy. Zhao Mingfang is notorious. If Zhang Yi doesn't marry her, others may not be willing to have her. Even if she ends up marrying someone who has ulterior motives for marrying her, her future marriage life will definitely not be very good. It is easy to change a country but hard to change its nature. However, isn't it said that Zhao Yide is very face-saving? Do you care about face and allow your daughter to do so many things?" Thinking about Chen Xuanyang saying that he was her guest, she finally made her first wife angry to death. It seems that he is really not a thing. After hearing what Wang Qilan and her mother said, Mother Zhou's face flashed with joy, and she hesitated. "I'm just afraid that people will dislike us, Magnolia. For girls, reputation is life. We in Yulan are thin-skinned, not those who are thick-skinned." Zhou's mother wiped away the tears that flowed down the corners of her eyes. "The 2 elders of us took turns asking for leave to stay at home every day, just to be afraid of her. We are committing suicide because many people are chewing maggots behind our backs when we go in. We are both used to saying that Yulan is shameless. Zhao Mingfang's shamelessness is what her parents are used to," Feng Qingxiu continued. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 478. Compared to Zhao Mingfang, Wang Jiao, who was pampered by Wang Zhenqiu and Miao Fengqin, was really 100 times better. Although Wang Jiao was a little out of character before she lost her memory, and she kept saying that she wanted to marry Lu Zhang and threatened her parents with running away from home, but after she lost her memory, she was completely different. She was a bit lazy, but she was not as shameless and lazy as Zhao Mingfang. Cruel, not to mention that under the temptation of delicious food, Wang Jiao has gradually gotten rid of some of her bad habits. Tasty, in an era of scarcity, this is human nature and not a bad habit. Wang Jiao, who came to Feng Qingxiu to ask for credit in the name of delivering food, saw Feng Qingxiu's smiling face and her attitude towards herself was more enthusiastic than before. She couldn't help but wonder, what good thing have I done? Seeing Wang Jiao, Feng Qingxiu was also surprised. "Cousin, are you here specifically to see me?" "Yes. Tianwan said that if you don't go home this week, I will come to find you. Wang Jiao raised the basket she brought. Don't you like to eat fried wolfberry sprouts with oil and salt? I pinched a lot of them. But they are tender, and I cut 2 bundles of leeks and garlic sprouts to save you from buying vegetables every day in the city. 1 penny a pound is enough to buy a box of matches. Wang Quilin had a good impression of Wang Qiao. Your name is Jiao Qiao, right? Thank you for thinking of us and staying for lunch at noon. Wang Jiao listened and glanced at Feng Qingxiu, one after another. The latter knew her well, and said with a smile, "And, my cousin must have something to ask me for help. We will go out for a walk and won't come back for dinner. Zibao, please take care of it with Grandma Cheng." Wang Quilin was about to say that eating out was not as affordable as eating at home, but she thought that Feng Qingxiu must have her own intentions when she said so she didn't stop her. 11 Bao is at home, you don't have to worry about him at all. He will be there in a few days. It's the 8th day of April, Zibao's first birthday, which happens to be Labor Day, so we'll celebrate him well. There are still about 10 days left, don't worry. After Feng Qingxiu finished speaking, before Zibao noticed, she pulled Wang Jiao and quickly slipped out of the door and went straight to the state-owned hotel. Wang Jiao immediately beamed and waited obediently for the waiter to come up to serve them, even delivering menus. "Zioxiu, you are such a roundworm in my stomach, how come you are so good?" Zhang Yuejin was thinking about buying milk powder for Gauden this month, but he didn't buy her any delicious food. Cousin, you're here to eat, don't say it in such a disgusting way, roundworms are not a good thing, Feng Qingxiu said, while asking the waiter what dishes were available today. The staple food is still 10 steamed buns, and as for the vegetables, bean sprouts vermicelli soup, stir-fried pork with bean sprouts and steamed eggs with minced meat. Are there no other dishes? Today's main dish at the state-owned restaurant is soybean sprouts, and there is also a bit of pork that was finally obtained. Only half of it is left, and the other half has been ordered by others in advance. Feng Qingxiu and Wang Jiao arrived early and before dinner time, so they caught up with the last pound of pork. The waiter smiled and said, "There is also a pig's trotter, sauced pig's trotter, 10 cents. Then bring it to us," Feng Qingxiu said without hesitation. So Wang Jiao grabbed the pig's trotters with both hands and chewed until her mouth was filled with oil. "Zioxiu, don't you want to eat? It's strange. You often don't eat meat, but you are not thin at all. Your skin is white and red." Feng Qingxiu would not tell her that she often eats cooked food in the space, so in the eyes of outsiders, she eats very little. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 479. Holding a bowl of bean sprout soup, Feng Qingxiu drank it slowly when she suddenly heard a familiar voice. "Waiter, is the braised pork I ordered ready? I invited Director Zheng from the textile factory to dinner today." The voice fell, and 2 people walked in outside the door. The speaker was Shen Fiheng, and the one accompanying him was Director Zheng. Feng Qingxiu thought about the usual conversations between Cheng Baoqiu and Wang Quilin, as well as the information Chen Suiniang occasionally revealed. It seems that the deputy director is named Zheng Jinrui, right? He often said that he was bathed in the golden light and auspiciousness of the leader and grew up healthily to this day, hence his name Zheng Jinrui. When Shen Fiheng came in and saw Feng Qingxiu, he was slightly stunned. "Hey, the big sister is here too. Brother Fiheng, long time no see. Are you inviting Director Zheng to dinner?" Feng Qingxiu had already stood up and said politely, "Hello Director Zheng, I am Feng Qingxiu, a country doctor who participated in the doctor training of the workers' hospital." Zheng Jinrui scratched his head. "I understand, you live in Mayor Cheng's house." Feng Qingxiu smiled and nodded, "So you also know. How could I not know? Zheng Jinrui smiled heartily, showing his big white teeth. He is in his 40s, but he has the mental state of a young man. The news that Uncle Cheng and Aunt Cheng found the savior has been spread all over the world. I don't know how many people secretly envied Cheng's father and Cheng's mother as their savior, and they were able to live in the Cheng family, and their lives would be the same in the future. There was no trace of surprise on Shen Fiheng's face. He seemed to have known about it for a long time. However, when he invited Zheng Jinrui to choose a chair to sit on, he politely said to Feng Qingxiu, "Sister, how about we share a table?" Feng Qingxiu looked at the leftovers on her table. Wang Jiao was wiping the oil on the bottom of the plate with a steamed bun. She hurriedly smiled and said, "We sisters are almost full, so I won't disturb you and Director Zheng's get-together." Zheng Jinrui and Shen Fiheng then found a table to sit down, and Shen Fiheng ordered him another bottle of Fenjiu. After Feng Qingxiu and Wang Jiao finished eating and said goodbye, Zheng Jinrui said to Shen Fiheng, "Why are you looking for me? You came to me, why not go to your older sister just now and ask her to help you with Comrade Quillen, take action personally?" "How do you say that?" Shen Fiheng blinked, expressing that he didn't understand. "Idiot," Zheng Jinrui lowered his voice, "your mother-in-law came to see Comrade Quillen. What could it be? And Comrade Quillen has been asking about young and promising young men recently. The purpose is self-evident." Shen Fiheng immediately sat up straight. "Seriously? Why should I coax you?" "There's no point coaxing you." Zheng Jinrui drank 2 sips of wine, ate a bite of braised pork, and took a bite of steamed buns with a pleased expression. "You have good vision and good luck. You just happened to catch this moment. If things get really bad at the party, your mother-in-law would definitely look down on you. If you behave well and ask your older sister to say good things to you, you might be able to get what you want. However, you have to take care of the gang under you. People, I know they all have bad intentions, which makes other girls afraid to go out during the day. I also punished several women in the factory who liked to talk." At this point, Zheng Jinrui sighed, "There is hope for you, brother, but it's all dark in front of me, brother. If my matter really comes true, don't worry, big brother, I will definitely speak a good word for you in front of my eldest sister." Shen Fiheng patted his chest vigorously, very boldly. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 480. Zheng Jinrui glanced at him. "You should take care of your business first. It's already a step too late. If it's any later, you won't be able to do it." When Shen Fiheng heard this, he couldn't sit still. "Big brother, you eat slowly and drink slowly. I will drink with you another day anyway." After paying the money and ticket, Shen Fiheng got up without hesitation, rushed out, inquired about the people nearby, and found the right path. Finally caught up with Feng Qingxiu. "Sister, wait." Shen Fiheng ran forward panting and stretched out his arms to stop the 2 sisters. Feng Qingxiu was listening to Wang Jiao saying that she wanted to go shopping in the department store. She had the tickets that Zhang Yuejin had saved recently and wanted to see if there were any delicious food that she could buy back. After all, the department stores in the county were far inferior to those in the city. Things are incomplete and often in short supply. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu was quite surprised when she saw Shen Fiheng. "Brother, what did you ask me to do?" "Sister, please take a step to speak," Shen Fiheng begged in a low voice. When Wang Jiao heard this, she automatically walked aside and stood where she couldn't hear their voices, staring at Shen Fiheng's every move. Although she had just heard Feng Qingxiu explain Shen Fiheng's origin, who knew he was good? Is it bad? Seeing that Lu Zhang often sent money, tickets, and things to Feng Qingxiu, many of the things ended up being cheaper for her, so she had to protect Feng Qingxiu well and make Lu Zhang feel at ease. "Brother, if you have any questions, just tell me. There are no outsiders nearby," Feng Qingxiu said. Shen Fiheng rubbed his hands and said in a low voice, Sister, your brother and I depend on you for all my lifelong affairs. Please help me say a few kind words to Director Wang and make me look good in front of Comrade Yulan and her parents. A few words. Feng Qingxiu was stunned for a moment. Do you want to propose marriage to the Zhou family? Shen Fiheng scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. I didn't dare to have such wishful thinking before. A girl as good as her should be paired with an outstanding cotter's son. Although I don't lack food, clothing, and housing, I am just a little gangster. How can I deserve it? Her. Who knew that little bitch Zhao Mingfang was so vicious and so useless? Don't worry, I won't let Zhao Mingfang's family have an easy time. Otherwise, it will easily arouse people's suspicion. On Comrade Yulan. Why do you have such thoughts? Feng Qingxiu was referring to his admiration for Zhou Yulan. Shen Fiheng said sternly, Sister, you don't know what my life was like before. When I was a child, my grandma and I depended on each other. The old and the young didn't have any skills. They all relied on grandma to earn a few cents by gluing paper boxes. To buy food for a cent, I could only beg on the street, or pick up radish skin and old cabbage roots peeled from the restaurant canteen to use as food. At that time, Comrade Yulan's parents lived in the county town. Comrade Yulan saw that I felt sorry for me and begged her father. My mother lent me a few dollars every month to buy food. She never asked for repayment, or left the uneaten food at the door for me to pick up. No one else was allowed to pick it up until their family moved 7 years ago to the city. Since their family is so kind to you, why don't you care about the ruffians nearby? I wasn't at home at the time. Shen Fiheng was extremely annoyed. He went out to buy supplies quietly. Because Zhang Yi and Zhou Yulan's relationship was basically established, I had people secretly take care of their family and spread rumors. The gangster who was rude to Comrade Yulan was hired by Zhao Mingfang and has been dealt with by me.